First question. What are your hopes and dreams?
I hope to get a job where I can go around the planet and do social work and stuff.
You want to go around the planet and do social work.
Yeah.
What is it that you see?
Just bad things, pain, suffering. I don't like it.
Where do you see pain? What are you seeing?
Everywhere, in the street, in villages, and everybody hates each other, so they don't even see the pain when it's somebody else in a different group. They only see their own pain.
So you're really tapped into that. All right. So you want to do something at the global level. Cool. All right, man.
I guess I would like to maybe continue on with what my family does and work with my family.
Uh-huh.
I think it's one of my goals.
So that's a hope dream. What else? What about else in the?
Maybe have a family, start a family.
Uh-huh. Start a family?
Yeah.
I hope to get my doctorate in nurse practitioning and live a lavish life with my husband and 2 Sphinx cats.
So you want... Oh, dude, I really love... Dude.
I just hope to, be, financially, stable enough, because, I don't know, they say money doesn't bring happiness, but as a Nigerian woman, money is happiness. So, I just want to be financially stable enough to, spend my money and enjoy spending it, and not only have enough money, but just be happy with that current state of my life whenever that time comes.
Mm-hmm. So what comes to you in that way?
Yeah.
So for you, it is, hey, when you think about going forward, you're saying to yourself, hey, I really want to be successful. I'm going to work hard. You want to get your
doctorate in nurse practitioning.
Yeah.
And
you want to accumulate as much as you can and live a really good life.
Yeah.
Okay. When you think about you being my age, what are you hoping to see for yourself in the world?
I mean, I'm gonna guess it's going to be the same dreams and hopes. So graduating and going back home.
Making money. Who do you most relate to up here? You got making money and living a really good life. You got really family, helping out, going back to family, and really having a family and just being really family oriented. And then you have, I want to make the world a better place. I just want to jump in and not that you guys don't want to make it a better place, but you didn't say that you want to go lessen the pain of people living in the world. So who do you most connect with here?
I mean, kind of mix of all.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay. All right. That's fair. All right. How about your fears?
Fears of what?
We're going to go fears, man. When you think about the future, Mason, let's just go back here. When you think about the future, what are your fears, man? There's a lot, there's a lot out there. What are you afraid of?
That there is no future.
Yeah. Say more.
Having no future for myself, being broke or homeless or not finishing my degree and having to work my jobs to pay back loans that I'm never going to use because I won't get my degree.
Mm-hmm. Okay. What else?
Probably uncertainty about the future, same as Mason, not knowing what's going to happen 10 years.
Do you feel like do you see yourself and your generation as unique from, say, my generation?
Unique how?
Meaning that when you say, yeah, I'm concerned about the future, do you think your concerns are the same as my concerns were?
No.
What's different?
Your concerns right now?
No. My concerns when I was your age.
Yes.
We had certain concerns when I was your age, right? I looked out to the future and I saw certain things. But what I'm hearing from your generation, and the reason we're having this conversation is because I'm hearing different things from you all, right? That my generation was not saying, if we could go back 45 years and put a bunch of my people, me and 3 other people on this table, we would say, I think we'd probably say different things, but maybe not. So that's what
I think it's probably not that different.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right. So really, when you think about the future, it's just the general fears that probably everybody had.
Yeah.
Just I guess all the pain and the hustle that I've been putting in just won't pay off, and it'll all be for nothing.
Okay, so that's kind of like Mason here. It's not gonna, you're not gonna be able to make a lot of money and spend it and have 2 Sphinx cats and all of that.
Yeah, something like that. And then probably also like I'm kind of scared like I won't fall in love and like find somebody. So
Okay. When I was your age, the biggest fear we had was nuclear war and nuclear annihilation, man. That was like a huge, huge thing. Yeah. Okay. So the fear. Abdullah, how about you?
Well, I'm gonna say, as for now, is losing someone close, like a family member or someone I care about, when I'm here.
When you're here, when you're far away from home.
Yeah,
So that's something you think about.
yeah, I do think about it.
Okay. Yeah, that's big. So how about like when you look further ahead in the future, what fears do you have? Do you have any? Maybe you don't have any, but what fears do you have?
Well, the biggest thing is having wars in my area and, let's say, not being financially stable.
Having wars in the Middle East, right? Having conflict.
Yeah,
Yeah. And that conflict continuing and not being able to be financially stable.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I want to ask you guys about this. So earlier today, I was reading this article, this op-ed piece by this guy named David Brooks. Okay, and he's a columnist for the New York Times. He's a columnist, but he's television, and he does a lot of different things, writes books. And then he's very, very moderate, very middle of the road. He leans conservative, but he's very middle of the road. He made the argument that people in your generation, I mean, one thing, but that wasn't just him. He referred to Americans in a general sense, but really most people make this argument that your generation is really rooted in nihilism, right? This meaninglessness, well, all of that, right? Skepticism, lack of purpose. You're just all like, it's just not serious, unserious, right? The whole thing, you're floating on a sea of uncertainty and pessimism and negativity that grows out of life around you, grows out of what you've gotten from my generation, grows out of what you see in social media, grows out of all of this, right? Lack of purpose. How strong is this among people, this feeling, okay? That's described right here. How strong is it among you and your friends and people around you in your generation, like Gen Z in particular?
There's definitely people like that, but in my experience, I think there's more people that are more like stoic and less nihilistic.
So people more like you all, really, because you all are showing a great degree of optimism, really in a certain sense. But say more about that. Like, so people around you, how are they compared to this? If they're not like this, how are they?
Like they're optimistic about the future. They have goals. They're not like, they know that maybe like there's bad things that can happen and stuff, but they won't think about anything that isn't gonna be useful to their lives or is gonna be better for them.
I definitely wouldn't really agree and say like our generation is like nihilist. That's the word. I wouldn't really say so, especially I guess like the people that I surround myself around. I really just think it's more about like a person's like upbringing and just like what type of like goals they have set for themselves. Like at the end of the day, like everybody is different. There's going to be that group of people that's extremely lazy, extremely like pessimistic. They don't really know what they want for themselves in the future. And then there's going to be that other group who's just naturally goal like setting, like goal chasing and everything.
So think about people your age, the people you surround yourself with, right? That you know. Most of them lean this way or this way.
I think most of them lean towards like the optimistic side, especially with all the resources that we have now. Like we have a lot of access to the internet and stuff, and just seeing like other people that have like accomplished things like online, I just think it inspires people our age to do the same thing.
So you're seeing lots of inspiration around you.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Right now feels meaningless because it's the future we're trying to get to. Like we're building up right now to get to the degree and all that.
So, like for you, like being in school is a thing that it's maybe there's something there, but But do most of your friends feel optimistic? Are they like sitting around brooding about the future of life on this planet, or are they getting on with their lives?
I meant more like they're not optimistic about right now, but they're optimistic about the future.
Okay, yeah, I got you. Okay, so they're busy, so they're struggling, like they got an exam in their class, they got to write a paper, but they're still feeling good about what the future has in store.
I would say most of people in my age, especially in Saudi Arabia, are optimistic. Hopefully.
No, but now optimistic about what?
About life overall, about quality of life. Let's say like free healthcare and other things.
Being taken care of by your government.
Yeah.
Optimistic that the oil isn't going to run out.
I mean, that's that's far away from possible, at least in those 100 years.
Yeah, I got you, man. Okay, so optimistic. They're feeling, how about the ability to have a family and raise a family and have kids and all of that?
I would say it's a 50-50 in this point, because there are a lot of people who are afraid from marriage and stuff like that because of like rising prices and other stuff.
How about the general acceptance of moral codes? When we say moral codes, by the way, and somebody else might want to weigh in on this, when we say moral codes, what we mean are the codes, the rules that we live by, the codes we live by, that shape our sense of what's right and what's wrong, what's good and what's bad. Do most people your age, from what you see, do they really accept and follow the standard moral codes of life around?
I'm going back to a point that if you are going to look at the world as a dark place, only as a dark place, without looking at the possibilities and goals that you can achieve, what's the point of living?
Okay, but hang on. And you're saying you're not seeing that happening among people of your generation.
Not a lot.
Yeah, okay. So you're not seeing that. And you're not really seeing that. And you're not seeing that. You're seeing that this kind of doesn't make sense. I would say, personally, from myself, from what I know, one of the reasons that I like having these conversations, or that one of the reasons people tune in a lot, people my age, is because they have the idea that your generation is really nihilistic, that all sorts of things, all sorts of negative things, and you're really condemning, you're not open-minded, you're not thoughtful, but it turns out that you really are not how people imagine that you are, and people talk about how you are. So young people, this is this Gallup poll. This is a poll from 21 countries, right? And so young people, 15 to 24, that's you all, right? From low and middle income countries. Young people in low and middle income countries are far more likely to be optimistic about the future than young people in high income countries. Do you have a sense of why that might be true?
In terms of like people that come from high income countries, I'd say like their entire life has just been like centered on being privileged. Like they know what the standard is, and like that standard has just kind of been set for them since they were like children. So there's nothing else to really look up to because they've already like gotten that standard. But for like people that are in low and middle income countries, I guess in a sense you could say they've hit rock bottom, and once you hit rock bottom, the only way out is like up.
So when you're down below, you're looking up.
Yeah.
When you're up above, you have to stay there.
Yeah.
And staying there is a lot more difficult than striving for something.
Yeah.
As somebody from who's more high, you're more high income, but in a lower income country. So like, what do you think how to make sense of this?
I think it might be because there's been a lot more development more recently in like third world countries. So like for example, the Mexico I was brought up in is very different to the one my grandfather grew up in. And I think that difference is a lot bigger than in first world countries, maybe.
So you see all the changes that are taking place, and you see the many opportunities available. Yeah.
I would say maybe for like the United States specifically, for the higher income, the people at the top are already at the top, so there might not be room for more people to go up. That might be why people are not optimistic about the future.
I would argue a whole lot of it has to do with economic opportunity. When you're starting from a place that's, underdeveloped, simple changes mean a whole lot. Electricity is a game changer. We couldn't imagine living without it, but there are places all over the world where electricity is intermittent or non-existent, and the change of going from none to some is a tangible benefit to their daily life, and that is a tangible benefit to their daily life that they can see happen in their lifetime. So it's the trajectory of their life experiences is getting better largely. Whereas in the more developed Western world, infrastructure is largely good. I mean, you can largely take a plane to wherever you want. Power outages are largely extraordinarily rare. Internet is largely very fast.
So your needs are much greater.
Your needs are almost all met. I mean, very few people go hungry in this country because food is, as a percentage of income in the United States, it's like 5% of our total income. Whereas around the world, it can be up to 35%. And that change is substantial and tangible.
And I agree with Logan's points, and I think I have a more of a different perspective on this. I believe with low and middle income countries, they're more family oriented. And then the higher an income you go, the more people become more entrepreneurial, more solo. And
You
then
start
that can
moving
create,
toward nuclear families and...
I'm not sure what that means.
Yeah, smaller families.
Smaller
like
families.
You're one single households.
Right.
And stuff.
And the further the connection is from people close to you, the less optimistic you are. And I think with these like low income families, I've seen videos of Haiti, right?
Yeah.
And you'd see them, lots of big families, lots of people bunched up together, and they motivate each other. They tell each other, keep going, there's hope, or it's just that positivity that you feel with people around you that you can trust.
You know, it's really interesting, the hope that, that's cool. Thanks, man. Yeah, there's like kind of a hope that I experience in places in the world that I don't experience here from lots of people. Like, man, I get, holy smokes, because I spent a lot of, I don't know. Dude, did you have a comment?
Yeah. In America, I believe the reason that we're seen as like less optimistic or more nihilistic about our future is that we're the first generation to have it worse off than our parents.
Okay.
And to be in a worse economic point in the future, so to be able to buy a home, to be able to support a family, we're at a point where it's becoming less and less realistic.
So you talk about that with your friends?
I mean, not with my friends.
But that's a thing that's out there for you?
Yeah.
Like it's not just something you read, but it's a thing that's part of the conversation, so to speak, in some way.
I would say so.
Yeah. Huh. Yeah, I see that for sure. It's like it's a headline that I'm seeing more and more.
I think the goals and the dreams that we were raised with and almost instilled with on like a wide base where you should have a home, you should have a family.
Yeah.
You should have these kinds of things. I believe that chance is becoming less realistic.
It's becoming more unsettled for sure.
Yeah.
And you have more people as the world becomes a global place. And more opportunities are being spread out in the world. Like Santiago's saying in Mexico. Mexico today is not the Mexico where I lived in 1986.
Absolutely.
Right. It's a very different place, man. And so you go to Mexico today and it's like, whoa, man. In 1986, it was really very different. So a lot of the money from around the world goes into Mexico in a way that it wasn't there 40 years ago.
Yeah.
They asked 36,000 respondents in 30 countries asking this question about democracy. And the idea that Gen Z, your generation, has less and less faith in democracy, man, and politicians and the ability of governments to get things done and make things happen. It's just like the faith, it's just everything is cynicism. It's cynicism about politicians are corrupt, politicians don't care about people, politicians do one thing after another, and it's true around the world for your generation, such that over a third of you, and we'll say a third, agree with the idea that, all we need is a really strong leader. No politicians aren't going to do anything. We just need one singular person to take control and make the changes that we want to see, that we feel like need to be made in our generation.
I mean, unfortunately, that's not really how it works because the government is just not like reliant on one person, and if one person controlled everything in the world, like,
No, but you bit like a strong leader, like somebody like we see here in the United States, a strong leader, just make things happen that have not been able to happen. So for the past 40 years, the entire time of me teaching, the idea is government's stuck, government's paralyzed, things aren't happening. We can't make any difference. You got these parties, at least in this country, that are just fighting each other. They don't do anything. All they do is fight with each other, and nothing happens. Suddenly, yo, man, things are happening, right? And you may not like it. Like, some people are gonna like it, some people aren't gonna like it, but things are happening. And so, like, okay. All right, let's go. People got, you get kind of what you want. Like, you're going to make things happen. It's never going to be easy. It's going to shake things up. It's going to feel precarious. It's going to feel lots of things, but things are happening. And like, okay, that's what people have wanted for 40 years. And so your generation, more than ever before, because if I go back 30 years, that number, wanting a strong leader, is probably like 5%, 2%. And now here it is around the world. People going like, yep, we need strong leaders and we need to just make it happen. So the question is, what do you think about that?
I think it means that people are like fed up.
Fed up?
Yeah, they're fed up with just like the structure of the government and just like the way things that are like, being handled and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And even for myself, I would say if there was a strong leader that is like, I guess, establishing things and doing things that in my mind serve right, then.
And if there is, you have a strong leader who's doing things and making things happen. Do you expect to agree with all of them?
Probably not everything, but
Okay.
the vast majority, yes.
The vast majority?
Yeah.
How about half? How about half?
I guess.
Would half be enough?
It depends on what half is.
all right, I got you.
I mean, I've seen support for stuff like this, but I wouldn't say I personally do. Like, from what I've seen in like my life and what I've heard from people and stuff, I think democracy is the better alternative.
But what are you thinking about the idea that folks so therefore, your generation increasingly are feeling less faith in democracy, less faith in elections. We keep getting the same politicians over and over again, less faith in politicians' willingness to work it out. Well, that insists that it's not even democracy. It's just a bunch of rich politicians coming together. That's the idea. So
I think if you go for the like dictator path, it's just gonna be the same thing, but you're not choosing anymore.
okay, so you're not hearing that. Are you in your life with your friends? Are you hearing this really frustration with democracy? But
I mean, for example, with my parents, when my dad grew up, there was only like one political party in Mexico.
yeah,
And now you have more options.
Okay.
And like, since there was democracy in Mexico, it's more stable. The economy's been better than ever.
okay.
So I've only seen that democracy like helps the country.
Okay.
And I've seen that like dictatorship does the opposite. So
And what do you mean by democracy? What is democracy to you?
like having checks and balances in your government, being able to choose your leaders,
Mm-hmm.
stuff
okay.
like that.
Even if the choices are limited.
I think
Right.
like limited choices are better than no choices. I
Okay,
think.
all right, that's cool. You got a nice life, man. You got your government that takes care of you. They're going to take care of your health care, your housing, your finance. Yeah, it's all right, man. But, there are a lot of things you can't do, including right now, since we're on camera, there are things you can't say, but, like, whatever. It's like, it's good. So what do you think about this?
So obviously I'm not American, so I can't talk about democracy but I mean, there is a key of success. The key of success is really depending on someone who can lead and also people who can help and do those goals.
So do you find with you and people around you are afraid of strong leaders, or is this just like, no, it can be a good...
No, we need strong leaders. I mean, otherwise, if there is no leader who's going to help and guide people around.
Okay. So you would say that's a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I wouldn't let's say you group 7 engineers, put no leader on them or no seniority over them, build take or make a building or build a building, and obviously they're going to fight because everyone will say I'm more knowledgeable and the project will not succeed.
So this idea of a strong leader who could bypass elections, that's not really a big problem for you.
Can you rephrase that?
Well, so you have the strong leader. Okay,
Yeah.
so that's good. You need a strong leader, and elections are. It's not really that. Because you guys don't really have. I mean, your elections are like election. Like come on. Well, same here in the U.S. I mean, it's not like it doesn't really matter. Doesn't change much.
I mean, we don't have elections to government leaders, but
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Yeah. Mason, how about you? When you see this, what are you thinking?
The idea of a leader that you can't get out of office no matter what you do because they bypass elections is just going to cause uprising in the people. There's going to be rebellion all the time.
So for you, that's not a good thing.
Yeah. I'd prefer multiple people that can be reelected and taken out of their positions easily than one person that's just going to be there till they say so.
So do you notice people? Do you have people in your world, other people your age and in your world who would argue differently than?
Yeah, I have a friend who thinks that way, that we
Yeah?
should have one strong leader to dictate everything. He's a fan of a certain dictator. That's why. He's not my friend anymore until I found that out.
Wait, a certain dictator, you mean
From the 1940s and 30s.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That's when I stopped being his friend.
All right.